All right. Good morning, everybody. We're going to call to order the November 12th, 2019 regular meeting of the Mason County Board of Commissioners. We'll begin with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And moving on to item 3, if the clerk would please take roll.
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
I'm here.
Commissioner District 2, Kevin Schutte.
Here.
Commissioner District 3, Sharon Trask.
I'm here.
Very good, thank you. Moving on to item number 4, correspondence and organizational business. Item 4.1, if the clerk would please report the correspondence.
NOAA's National Marine Fisheries sent a proposed rule to designate critical habitat for certain population segments of the humpback whale. Robert McLean sent in an application for the Mason County Planning Advisory Commission. The Washington Department of Natural Resources sent in a county income report for October 2019. And Randy Ruffton sent in John Tupper's letter of resignation from the Veterans Advisory Board.
Okay, very good. Moving on to item number 5. This is an open forum for citizen input, an opportunity for members of the public to address the commission on items not on today's agenda. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise your hand. The chair will recognize you. Come forward, state your name, and make your comment. Any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to item number 6, adoption of today's agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move for adoption of today's agenda as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt today's agenda as presented. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion carries. Moving on to item number 7, approval of minutes. There are minutes from October 28th, 2019's briefing and October 22nd, 2019 regular meeting minutes.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the minutes of October 28th, 2019 briefing minutes and October 22nd, 2019 regular meeting minutes.
I will second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the October 28th, 2019 briefing minutes and October 22nd, 2019 regular meeting minutes. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion carries. Moving on to our action agenda, commissioners will read through the items on today's action agenda, at which time a commissioner or member of the public may ask to have an item removed for a separate discussion and vote. Commissioner Netherland, if you'd please take 8.1 through 4, Commissioner Trask 8.5 through 8, and I will take 8.9 through 12.
Absolutely. Mr. Chair, 8.1 reads, approval of a resolution establishing an impressed revolving checking account for Lake Management District Number 3 for Spencer Lake. Item number 8.2, approval of the following 2019 meeting changes due to the holidays. Reschedule the November 26, 2019 commission meeting to 9 a.m. Reschedule the November 26th Board of Health meeting to 10 a.m. Cancel meetings on December 24th and 31st of 2019. Item number 8.3, approval to appoint David Daly to the Historic Preservation Commission and approval to reappoint Steve Rose to the Historic Preservation Commission. Both terms will expire November 30th, 2022. Item number 8.4, approval of the joint professional service agreement with the City of Shelton and Phillips Burgess Government Relations, LLC for lobbying services.
Item 8.5, approval of a professional services contract between the Monarch Children's Justice and Advocacy Center and the Mason County Sheriff's Office to conduct interviews with children regarding abuse. Item 8.6, approval to execute a resolution to close Old Belfair Highway at approximately milepost 0.000 to milepost 0.100 on Sunday, December 1st, 2019 from 3:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. Item 8.7, approval to authorize the chair to sign joint funding agreement number 20 YGJFA 03400 with the U.S. Department of the Interior, U.S. Geological Survey for the period October 1st, 2019 to September 30th, 2020. Item 8.8, approval of a resolution to set a hearing with the hearing examiner on Wednesday, December 11th, 2019 at 1 p.m. to consider public comment on the petition for vacation of the south half of West Walnut Street lying north of 121 West Walnut Street in the plat of Moore's addition to Shelton Block F, lots 1 through 4.
Item 8.9, approval to authorize Public Works, ER&R to use the county vendor roster to solicit for vehicle and equipment towing and tire repair services for the 2020 calendar year, and approval to allow Public Works, ER&R to sign and award contracts. Mason County does not guarantee a minimum purchase of these services. Item 8.10, approval to have the chair sign 6 out-of-class lead special pay authorization request forms for Todd Cannon, Don Mezojednik, Jeannie McFarland, Grace Miller, Michael McIrvin, and Anna Smith for calendar year 2020. Item 8.11, approval of an agreement with Northwest Event Organizers and Shelton Mason County Chamber of Commerce for the temporary use of Building 10 and parking lot to support holiday tourism efforts. The agreement is for the period of November 25th, 2019 to December 31st, 2019 in the amount of $2,000. Item 8.12, approval to have the chair sign the memorandum of understanding between the Mason County Historical Society and Mason County Parks for storage. Commissioners, having read through all the items on today's action agenda, are there any items you'd like to have removed for a separate discussion and vote? Okay, hearing none. Any members of the public have items they would like to have removed for a separate discussion and vote? Cheryl.
8.8, I just have a question. Where is that located? Walnut Street?
So Walnut Street is,
For vacation.
I'm from the courthouse, it's like right over here, it's in the city of Shelton urban growth area. So it's up a hill, like if you come right out the street with the roundabout on it, if you go, up, can't remember the name, there's a street that goes like a 45-degree angle, kind of uphill.
Oh, okay.
And Walnut Street is the street that is to the left.
Okay, thanks. Get a map.
Okay, any other questions or items to be removed from the public? Okay, hearing none, I would entertain a motion from the commission.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve today's action agenda as written.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve today's action agenda as written. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion carries. Moving on to item number 9, other business. It's an opportunity for department heads or elected officials to address the commission. Any wishing to do so? Okay, seeing none, we have not yet reached 9:15, so we'll move past item 10 on our agenda and move to item number 11 for our board reports and calendar. Commissioner Nellen, if you'd get us started, Commissioner Trask, and then I will finish.
Sure. I don't know where some of my issues were here this last week, but we had our budget workshop. I attended the WIRA 15 meeting. I also had a meeting with State Representative Drew McEwen. We talked about some of the things that are facing our county. Appreciate him coming out, reaching out to do that. Spencer Pruitt, a young man from my community, which I'm sure you know who he is. He actually reached the level of Eagle Scout, and so I attended that. And he was also a student member on the school board, and he's been a pretty impressive young man. I remember when he was like 6 out there raising huge amounts of money for Relay for Life, and I literally mean 6. And since then, now he ends up selling food at all the ball games and stuff. He's got this big trailer and everything, all to make money for Relay for Life and for cancer research. Pretty impressive young man. Also met with some different constituents. That table in Belfair is turned out to be very, very accessible for everybody. This next week we have our briefings right after this, our usual Monday morning briefings. We're having it today. I have a Mason Transit Authority pre-agenda meeting. We have a budget hearings or budget briefings. Of course, we had some last week as well. I have a meeting with ORCA. I also have a couple more, about 4 more different meetings this week with constituents in Belfair. EDC board meeting. We're all getting together for a meeting with KMB. I'll be attending the KRCC legislative meeting where the legislators will come out and talk about the projects that are happening out there. Peninsula Regional Transportation Organization and more constituents than briefings, and that also, and then a Finance Committee meeting for ORCA, Olympic Regional Clean Air Authority.
Very good, thank you. Commissioner Trask?
Oh, last week was interesting. On the 6th, we went to the city of Shelton hosted it. It's called the Western Gateway Project. So they offered some information on the road going out. On the 7th, FEMA had an intro to continuity of government planning for rural jurisdictions. So what happens when an emergency strikes and how we keep government and critical organizations in functioning. Then we have briefing meeting, budget workshop Then we also have the joint meeting with the city tonight. There's a planning meeting out at Public Works for emergency management. And then after that, I'll be spending the day with Public Works. They're gonna take me on some ride-alongs, I guess. Should be fun. On Friday or Thursday, have an emergency services, emergency food services meeting. Also, the Area Agency on Aging is having an open house from 1 to 4. And so I encourage everyone to go to that if you can. It'd be interesting. Then also there's the KMB meeting where we will all be Turning Point board meeting. And then we're back here on Monday.
Okay, very good. And there's nothing else you needed to do to satisfy the bet you lost because you're a 49ers fan?
There was one thing that I had to do. Thanks for bringing that one out. So the game last night was a nail biter, and I lost the bet by 3 points. And so now I'm wearing a Seahawks shirt. Thanks, Mr. Commissioner.
We all have sacrifices to make. Don't we?
I think should announce that Seahawks are great and 49ers suck. Don't just get
We'll debate that later.
Yeah. No, that was awesome game.
Very good, thank you. A couple of quick things from last week. The Southside YMCA had their groundbreaking here in Shelton for their the upcoming facility here. Really exciting. It was attended by probably at least 100 people that came out to participate in that. Commissioner Trask, I know, was on the board for that, and I just really exciting to see that project get underway and moving forward. I also had a chance to visit with Liz Arbaugh, who's the new executive director at the Mason County Historical Society, and chat with her about some of her plans and vision for that organization. And you know, before getting into the whole political realm, I was a history teacher. I went to school to do that, and so it kind of piqued my interest to get in and you know, just to have conversations about Mason County's past and what that means for our future. And so some really exciting things on the horizon for that organization. So it was great to catch up with them. Going forward this week, have a MaceCom board meeting, popping in to have a quick conversation with our executive director at the EDC, have the opioid stakeholder meeting, Mason Transit Policy Committee meeting, RIA 14 watershed planning meeting. Then I'll be involved in the KMB jail meetings that are happening this week. Then this weekend I'll be attending the Great Bend Center for Music's fall choral concert. They're doing Fare's Requiem, so November is always a great time to be reminded of all things Requiem, and so it's a really exciting concert that they've been working hard on. It'll be Friday evening at St. Edward's here in town, and is on Sunday afternoon as well, so I'll be at the Friday evening showing of that. I know a lot of work goes into it, and look forward to supporting that great organization in our community as well. And then back Monday for briefings. Okay, Commissioners, anything to...
I do have one more addition. I will not be at the meeting on Tuesday because I will be heading to Wasack for the conference.
Okay.
And I will be at the joint meeting tonight. I don't know how that one slipped.
As will I. I don't know if I've said that or not, but we will all be at the joint meeting.
Yeah.
So, okay. Perfect. So we have reached 9:15, so we'll move into item 10.1, public hearing to consider the sale of parcel 32127-53-00174 in the amount of $4,000. This is a hearing that was continued from October 22nd, 2019, and ask staff to come forward and brief.
Thank you, Commissioners. As you mentioned, this is a public hearing to consider the sale of parcel number 32127-53-00174, located on East Mason Lake Road in Shelton, in the amount of $4,000. And it was postponed from October 22nd, and the recommended action is to approve to sell the parcel in the amount of $4,000.
Okay, very good. Commissioners, any questions for staff? Okay, hearing none. Any questions from the public for staff? Okay, hearing none, we'll move into public comment. We'll open the public comment period. If you'd like to make a comment on this, raise your hand. The chair will recognize you. Come forward to the podium, state your name, make your comment. Any comment on item 10.1? Okay, hearing no public comment, we will close public comment and move to commissioner deliberation or motion.
Mr. Chair, I move for approval to sell parcel 32127-53-00174 in the amount of $4,000 to Patty Hinton.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the sale of parcel 32127-53-00174 in the amount of $4,000 to Patty Hinton. Any additional discussion?
Just one comment, if you could make sure that we get that page that shows the listing, because it also shows how many days it's on the market and stuff like that. I'd like to always have that in the packet in case somebody in the audience asks us. If it was a quick sale, we want to make sure we can tell them that it's been on the market for 3, 6, 8 months.
Great. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion carries. Moving on to item 10.2, a public hearing to consider establishment of a playground zone on Sand Hill Road, Belfair. And ask staff to come forward and brief.
Good morning, Commission, and real quick, that road name wasn't popping in my head. It's, if you go off North Cliff onto Poplar, and you can head up to Walnut Street by Second. So that if anyone else is interested, that might be a little more helpful. So on to the public hearing. The Sand Hill Elementary School zone signing currently is from milepost 0.715 to milepost 1.026. It's a distance of 1,642 feet. Students who attend the school either ride the bus or are transported by parent. The principal informed us 70% ride the bus and 30% are parental pickup drop-off. To better address public needs, Public Works is proposing to remove the school zone and instead establish a playground zone along the ball fields between milepost 0.822 and milepost 1.012 northbound and 0.746 to milepost 0.935 southbound. So in this location, there is school property directly adjacent to Parks property with ball fields. So this is, the conundrum is that they kind of overlap if we were to set two different zones. The proposal includes a set of pedestrian actuated flashing beacons. They would be solar powered at the crosswalk. The new playground signs would be installed and road work would be done to improve the shoulder and ditch at the crosswalk to improve it to meet ADA standards. The estimated cost to the road fund would be $16,000. This would also propose to add lights in the tunnel and to have the park host unlock that during ball field events, tournaments, and things where there might be a lot of kids crossing the street.
Great, very good. Any questions for staff?
Yeah, I only heard you mention the activated lights at the crosswalk, but isn't there supposed to be lights on both ends to say when they're present? Because we don't want it all the time. We wanted it to be...
Yes, with the playground zone, there will be flashing lights on top. And part of, right now, one of the signs that is a non-standard sign has a speed reduction to 20 miles an hour, 365 days during daylight hours. And to better align with when we would like people to go 20 miles per hour, we would have one flashing. Yes.
Very good, thank you. Any other questions for staff? Any questions from the public for staff? Okay, thank you. We will move into public comment. Again, open the public comment period for 10.2. If you'd like to make a comment, raise your hand. The chair will recognize you. Come forward, make your comment, state your name. Any comment on 10.2? Any comment on 10.2? Okay, hearing none, we'll close public comment. Move on to commissioner deliberation or motion.
I'd like to start with a thank you for all your hard work. This is an issue up in my area. You know, imagine having it go 24 hours a day. We had a public meeting up there, almost 2 years ago, when it was actually announced that the sheriff's department does use it as a speed trap to be able to get identities and stuff. It was the sheriff's department that said it, and that sent ripples all through the community, so they were pretty upset at that point. But at the same time, they're just trying to protect the community because there's been so much crime up there. With that being said, it is nice, because I had one guy that I'll never forget. He's only had one ticket in his life, and it was there because it's such a steep hill. You have his old truck, he had to get it up to speed to make it up the hill. And if he didn't get up to speed, he didn't make it up the hill. So with this, it'll put him in a little better position. Maybe he'll never get a ticket again. So thank you again for all your hard work. with that, I'll make a motion. Mr. Chair, I move the Board of County Commissioners approve resolution authorizing Public Works to remove the school zone and establishing a playground zone at Sand Hill Road in accordance to the documents they presented.
A second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the resolution authorizing Public Works to remove the school zone and establish a playground zone on Sand Hill Road in accordance with the documents attached. Any additional discussion? I'll just echo Commissioner Netherland's gratitude to staff. We've been around and around on this one for several months, and as it's currently set up here, leading up to this conversation, didn't make a whole lot of sense, I think, to us and to staff. Would agree with that, as well as to the public. I think this is a good compromise to help keep people safe in the playground zone when people are using the fields, but not making it a little bit more flexible than the 24/7 speed reduction there. That just didn't really make a whole lot of sense to people. So great job putting this together and working through all the different options with us, and in your outreach to the schools, I think, is appreciated too. I think involving them in the conversation was really helpful and important. So just really appreciate us getting to this point, and happy to support this this change.
Should we make him take a bow? Yes, you're awesome. The commission mentioned working with the school districts. People don't know they did some changes here at the end to make it work with all of them. If you'll notice, they're not here mad today. Originally, they did have some issue and we're a little upset, but the fact that they're not here goes to show how when the staff works with the community and works with through some of the issues, you don't have the people here getting mad at us, which I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion carries. All right, Commissioners, having reached the end of our agenda, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
We're adjourned. Have a good day, everybody.